We're so glad that you could join us this year as we provide you with your cooperative's 2020 year-end financial results and the reporting of the nominating committee. I am Brian Boyd, current chairman of your Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit Board of Directors. When we think about the past 12 months, many different words come to mind. Challenging, unprecedented, and significant are just three that I think of right off the bat. Through it all, I've been very proud to serve as chairman of your Mid-Atlantic Board. Our focus in serving you, our fellow members, has remained constant. We worked with over 600 customers to help them defer loan payments as COVID-19 hit, funding $17 million through the Small Business Administration Paycheck Protection Program and distributing over $50 million in cash through our patronage program. Cathy Blair is appointing as the recording secretary for our meeting. Will the secretary please read the minutes of the 2020 annual stockholders meeting, or do we have a motion to dispense with the reading?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to dispense of the reading of the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Now, please help me welcome Brian Rosati, Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit's Chief Financial Officer, for an overview of our association's financial position and our patronage program.
Thank you, Brian. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Rosati, and I am the Chief Financial Officer here at Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit. And it is my pleasure to briefly talk about the Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit's 2020 financial results and our patronage program, the piece of our business model which makes borrowing from farm credit unique and a real value to you, our borrowers and members. 2020 started off as a typically strong year for Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit. But then in March, the COVID-19 pandemic caused the shutdown of the economy and caused a great deal of anxiety and uncertainty. But like Henry Ford once said, when everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. And through the incredible perseverance of our members, the leadership of our board of directors, and the adaptability of the people at Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit, the association was able to take off against the COVID-19 winds and make 2020's financial results soar to historic levels. In 2020, we increased our active voting members with loans outstanding from 10,714 to 10,947. That's an increase of 2.2%. Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit capital levels, which represent the financial strength and the capability to continue to serve our members during uncertainty in the economy, increased by $3 million to $665 million, and all of our capital ratios are well above the regulatory requirements. These strong capital levels are what allow us to continue to operate in uneasy times like the COVID-19 pandemic and still pay out patronage to our customers on an annual basis. The loan volume increased by $60 million to $2.91 billion. That's up 2.1% from the end of 2019. The average loan balance per member remained consistent at $265,000 in 2020 compared to $266,000 as of 2019. The association's growth continues to be properly diversified as the percentage of loans outstanding remains consistent amongst the various commodity groups. Like you and your operation, diversification is important for our portfolio, allowing us to manage our risk. As such, 5 commodity groups make up approximately 69% of our portfolio. Our 2 largest commodities, cash crops and poultry, make up 44% of our total portfolio, which is consistent with last year. Another key highlight is the excellent credit quality of our portfolio. Acceptable loans finished the year at 95.6% compared to 96.1% a year ago, a slight decrease of less than 1%. Despite this slight decline, Mid-Atlantic's credit quality continues to be extremely strong, reflecting the excellence in your operations and the association's credit management. So how does all of this impact income for 2020? Our net income for 2020 was $78.7 million, the highest in Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit history. And for the last 5 years, net income totaled $344 million, which is also the highest of any 5-year period in the association's history. Over these last 5 years, the association's funding bank, AgFirst Farm Credit, has issued special patronage distributions to the association of approximately $89 million, which has been a significant contributor to our overall increased net income. In response to the uncertainty the COVID-19 pandemic caused our membership and the strong capital positions of the association, this allowed our board of directors to make an additional 2019 patronage distribution of $8.25 million in July of 2020 to assist our members during these stressful times. On top of this additional cash patronage, your association was able to revolve the remaining $15.5 million of the 2013 and 2014 non-qualified allocated surplus in 2020, with payments of $7.2 million in July and $8.3 million in December. So as of December 31st, 2020, all of the remaining outstanding non-qualified allocated surplus has been distributed in cash to our stockholders. The cash distribution based on 2020 earnings is $54.5 million, which is the highest in Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit history and will be distributed in early April. So since last year's annual meeting, the association has distributed almost $78.25 million of cash to stockholders, which is the highest in any 12-month period in the association's history. And since 1990, the association has allocated and distributed cash patronage of $597 million to its members. That was just a quick summary of the 2020 financial results, and our 2020 annual report is posted on our website and should be arriving in your mailbox in the next few days. I would like to spend the remainder of my time with you reviewing the association's patronage program. Customer service expert Shep Hyken once said, "When you treat customers right, they will come back and tell others." I think this quote perfectly describes Mid-Atlantic and its shareholders. We are able to earn profits because you remain a customer year after year, rewarding us for the good service that we strive to provide every day. You help us grow the business and increase profits by telling your friends and neighbors about Farm Credit, the great customer experience which it provides, and the competitive rates. And we cannot thank you enough for continuing to trust us to be your financial lender. So let's talk a little more about patronage and how the annual payment is determined. Patronage is essentially a dividend or distribution that a cooperative pays to its members based upon a percentage of its profits. Each stockholder's dividend is calculated according to how much interest that stockholder paid to the cooperative that year. Before the cooperative can pay patronage, it must determine how much of the profit must be retained as capital in order to support the loan growth of the company, as well as to ensure Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit will be a source of funding to our members during challenging times. To build the current strong capital position, your association had historically been paying an annual cash distribution and also issuing what we call allocated qualified equities, which is like an IOU. The board annually evaluates the association's capital position, which is mentioned before as a measurement of the association's financial position during challenging economic times. And based upon those capital percentages, the outlook of future performance and growth, your board makes a determination of whether some of that IOU can be redeemed as cash. We discussed a couple of minutes ago the cash distributions for the remaining 2013 and 2014 non-qualified allocated surplus. That was the board redeeming in cash those IOUs. So as of December 31st, 2020, the association successfully repaid the full amount of the non-qualified surplus outstanding, and your board of directors anticipates paying a full cash patronage going forward to ensure a maximum return for our members while continuing to maintain strong capital positions. The association has successfully paid an annual cash distribution for each of our 21 years of existence as Mid-Atlantic, which is a good reflection of the consistency and dependability of your association in good times and challenging times in the agricultural sector. The payment of patronage is, of course, always subject to the board's evaluation and the analysis of the financial position of the association. I would like to wrap up with a quote from Apple founder Steve Jobs. He said, "Great things in business are never done by one person. They are done by a team of people." With this in mind, I can assure you that the members of your association, that our staff and the board are working together to find ways to help our members during these unique times, to fulfill our mission to be there for you, our members, for both today and tomorrow. It's been my pleasure to share this financial update with you. We look forward to communicating with you each quarter this year and letting you know how the association is financially performing. I would like to introduce to you now our Senior Vice President of Corporate Services, Cathy Blair, to present the nominating report.
Good morning. I am the association's election officer, and I will be presenting the nominating committee's report. Your elected 2021 nominating committee met in December and by a series of conference calls over the following several weeks. Their purpose in meeting was to select qualified candidates for open seats on the board of directors and for the 2022 nominating committee. Stockholders have the option of voting in this year's election electronically or via mailed-in ballots. The election process will begin on April 12th when ballot packets will be sent to all eligible voting stockholders. About 3 weeks later, on May 6th, the polls will close at the end of the day. Beginning the next day, May 7th, electronic and mailed-in ballots will be validated and tabulated. A validation process is in place to ensure that no stockholder casts more than one ballot in the election. The independent firm Survey and Ballot System has been engaged to handle the validation and tabulation process. Each voting stockholder of Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit is entitled to only one ballot, regardless of the number of single or joint loans the stockholder may have. A voting stockholder is defined as the one person designated on the most recently executed membership application as having the power of attorney for their farm credit relationship. That is the only person who should fill out the application ballot when you receive it. If you are uncertain who has the voting rights on your farm credit account, please call your local office and one of our staff members will be happy to look that up for you. The nominations follow our 6 different election regions shown on the map. The voting stockholder will be entitled to cast their vote for all positions, no matter what region the candidates are in, and no matter what region the voter lives in. They are entitled to vote in all election regions, but are not required to do so. If the individual does not feel comfortable voting in all of the regions and wishes to leave a portion of the ballot blank, the rest of the ballot will still be valid. I will now read the names of the candidates for the board of directors. All terms are 4 years in length. Biographical information about the candidates for director is included in the ballot packet and will be sent out on April 12th. There are no director positions open in the Central Maryland, Chesapeake, Delaware, or Keystone election region this year. In this year's election, there is one position open in the Marva election region. The candidates are Fred R. Moore of Eden in Somerset County, Maryland. Samuel T. Parker of Salisbury in Wicomico County, Maryland. In this year's election, there is one position open in the Valley election region. The candidates are Julie Bolliard of Martinsburg in Berkeley County, West Virginia. Shane Waller of Strasburg in Shenandoah County, Virginia. That completes the slate of candidates for open director positions submitted by this year's nominating committee. I will now read the names of the candidates for next year's nominating committee. Each region has 2 positions open, and each position is a 1-year term. In the Central Maryland election region, for position number 1, the candidates are Jacob M. Shriver of Emmitsburg, Maryland, John Parker Smith Jr. of Westminster, Maryland. For position number 2, the candidates are Patrick R. Botimer of Rocky Ridge, Maryland, Kimberly L. Snyder of New Windsor, Maryland. In the Chesapeake election region, for position number 1, the candidates are Sarah N. Kirk of Federalsburg, Maryland, Julie L. Harris of Preston, Maryland. For position number 2, the candidates are David L. Denny of Queen Anne, Maryland, Ethan C. Whiteside of Queenstown, Maryland. In the Delaware election region, for position number 1, the candidates are Eric W. Carlson of Felton, Delaware, Kelly M. Blessing of Harrington, Delaware, Timothy J. Rogers of Frankfort, Delaware. For position number 2, the candidates are James H. Baxter IV of Georgetown, Delaware, Martin J. Ross of Delmar, Delaware, Joshua M. Thompson of Georgetown, Delaware. In the Keystone election region for position number 1, the candidates are Joel R. Hedrick of Burnville, Pennsylvania, Andrew J. Klein of Newmanstown, Pennsylvania, Dale L. Stoltzfus of Schuylkill Haven, Pennsylvania. For position number 2, the candidates are Nelson R. Beam of Elverson, Pennsylvania, and Michael J. Basciani, Sr. of Avondale, Pennsylvania. In the Marvell election region for position number 1, the candidates are Cord D. Bounds of Berlin, Maryland, Shane I. King of Princess Anne, Maryland. For position number 2, the candidates are Travis L. Gossley of Sharptown, Maryland, Charles M. Wright V of Mardella Springs, Maryland. In the Valley election region, for position number 1, the candidates are Jason S. McDonald of Stevens City, Virginia, Ralph A. Stickman Jr. of Winchester, Virginia. For position number 2, the candidates are Jerry A. Berner of Luray, Virginia, Jason A. Bushong of Woodstock, Virginia. That concludes the slate of candidates for the 2022 nominating committee as selected by this year's nominating committee. At this year's business meeting, there's an opportunity for additional candidates to be nominated from the floor. If there are floor nominations, both the person making the nomination and the person who is being nominated must be voting stockholders of the association. In addition, certain information must be presented concerning the nominated person's business activities and other matters. The list of required information is lengthy, so I will not read it unless there is a nomination from the floor. Are there any nominations from the floor? Hearing none, is there a motion to close floor nominations? Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All voting stockholders in favor of the motion to close nominations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Just a reminder that ballot packages will be sent on April 12th to the voting stockholders. If you are uncertain who the designated voter is on your Farm Credit account, call your local office and one of our staff members will be happy to look it up for you. Only the designated voter should complete the ballot. All ballots must be received no later than the end of the day on May 6th. Ballots that are received by that date will be verified as to eligibility and counted by survey and ballot systems. We expect the election results will be available by calling any of our offices after 4 p.m. on May 7th. Results will be posted immediately to our website, mafc.com, and on our Facebook and Twitter feeds. A results postcard will be mailed to all members within 15 days after the ballots are counted. One of the unique things about being a voting stockholder of your Farm Credit Cooperative is not only your opportunity to help choose its leaders by voting, but also the opportunity to play an active role in your association's leadership, either as a director or a member of the nominating committee. If you are interested in serving as a director or nominating committee member, please feel free to contact me and I'll be happy to share more information with you regarding the requirements and expectations of each position. So I encourage you to watch for your ballot packet, place your vote electronically or by mail, and consider playing an active role in the future leadership of your association. I'll now bring back your chairman, Brian.
Thank you to everyone who joined us live today and those that are viewing this recording at a later date. We hope to see you all again soon.